CNN Heroes on All-Star Tribute. Meet and celebrate the honorees and find out who'll be Hero of the Year. CNN Heroes on All-Star Tribute, Saturday at 8 on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
The accused D.C. pipe bomber making his first appearance in court. A federal judge just moments ago set a detention hearing for 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr., a hearing that's set to be held December 15th, about 10 days from now. Remember, Cole is facing 2 criminal charges, which carry up to 20 years in prison.
Earlier, Attorney General Pam Bondi said more charges are likely to come, as we're now learning Cole has been speaking with FBI investigators. Sources tell CNN Cole has told agents he believed the 2020 election was stolen. We're joined by National Security Attorney Bradley Moss. Bradley, what have we learned from this court appearance?
Yeah, we're learning some rather awkward and embarrassing things for the White House and for, honestly, some of the senior members of the Justice Department and the FBI, because this defeated all of the theories, all the conspiracies for the last 4 years about who this particular pipe bomber could have been. Assuming, of course, this person is actually proven in a court of law to have been that person. All the theories that the Trump team, that Dan Bongino, that Kash Patel, everybody was saying was this was an inside job. This was somebody at the Bureau. This was someone from the Capitol Police. They had always made it out to be that this was some kind of insider gig. What is it? It's just a regular guy who believed Donald Trump's conspiracies about 2020 and who allegedly took this action. How embarrassing that these are the individuals now who have to bring these charges and prove this case in court.
What did you gather from that detail that he apparently told investigators he thought the 2020 election was rigged? Does that read as a likely motive?
Certainly would appear to be so that he was trying to do something. And remember, this is right before January 6th. This is right before all the chaos we saw that following day. Certainly appears like he was doing this as part of whether it was his own plan or in concert with anyone else. We don't know yet. But it certainly seemed like an effort to disrupt things, to prevent the certification of the electoral slate that next day, and to somehow prevent Joe Biden from becoming president 2 weeks later. So that will obviously play a role as to why he chose to do this. The extent to which that's relevant more as a culpability issue as opposed to an issue for sentencing, is for the court to decide. But that will make it more awkward. That will even make it more embarrassing as this case proceeds, as this allegedly, presumably makes it to trial one day, on the extent to which he was relying on the words of Donald Trump and the lies that Donald Trump was espousing as the reason to take what could have been a very dangerous and deadly action through these pipe bombs.
And according to the affidavit, the suspect purchased multiple items consistent with components used to make these bombs, these particular ones, at Home Depot, Walmart, Lowe's, Micro Center stores, not just in 2019 and 2020. Of course, this was placed in 2021. So what does that tell you about potential planning here?
It sounds like a lot of work went into this, certainly likely a lot of research. We'll discover, no doubt, during the course of the pretrial phase, how much effort went into this, whether or not he was simply pulling this online. Lord knows, with the internet, you can discover just about anything these days. So to the extent to which he was doing it online, who he was speaking with, I'm sure there's going to be some aspects, some theories, especially on social media. Was he coordinating with someone on the left, some Biden person trying to instigate him, or, according, on the other half, was he coordinating with those who ultimately were prosecuted and convicted tied to the January 6th riots, whether or not he was doing this in concert with them? It'll be fascinating as this case plays out, seeing what exactly he was involved with, what extent he was doing it on his own, and why the Biden team decided that there wasn't a case to make originally, which is certainly something, if I were him, I'd be exploring from the last 4 years.
So we just learned, Bradley, that the suspect did not enter a plea during this hearing. We mentioned the 2 charges that he's facing. Attorney General Bondi left the door open for more potential charges to come. What do you imagine those might be?
So it depends on who else he was working with and what other actions he took, whether or not he has described to investigators other individuals, other accomplices he worked with, or other efforts beyond just these pipe bombs. Maybe they're learning about other things he did, other steps he took on not only in 2019 and 2020, which could potentially still be charged depending on the statute of limitations, but also what else he may have done right around January 6th. Did he lay other bombs? Did he lay other efforts, engage in other efforts to try to cause chaos on January 6th? It could be that there's a wider range of activity they need to charge. It could be that there's a wider range of defendants they ultimately need to charge. The fact that he didn't enter a plea is rather interesting. We're wondering what he's particularly aiming for here. If he's just trying to get a plea agreement set out. Court will set a not guilty plea by default for the moment.
Yeah, we will keep our eye on this story. Bradley Moss, thanks so much for the analysis.
Of course.
Another story we're tracking this afternoon, the Supreme Court handing President Trump a Texas-sized win, what the justice's latest ruling means for the midterm elections.
Roy Wood Jr.'s Very, Very, Very Merry Holiday Special, December 14th at 8 on CNN.
Lenny just turned 15 and my floors are messier than ever.
That's normal with dogs.
Lenny's my son, Steamer.
That's what you get for naming him Lenny.
Call 1-800-STEAMER.
It's that time of year when people are making decisions about Medicare plans. Maybe you are too.
Honestly, I don't want to have to look for a Medicare plan by myself, but I don't know who to turn to or who I can trust.
And that's why Aetna licensed agents are standing by, ready to answer your questions and help make the process of choosing a Medicare plan easier.
When you call and talk to me about finding a Medicare plan, I'm going to give you my name and my personal toll-free number so that if you have more questions or need help, you can reach back out to me.
Get Medicare coverage that's right for you and fits your budget.